G'day guys, and today, something that caught my eye in the news. Is it possible for a system that allows billionaires to be generated to be considered moral? Now this question was recently put towards the much maligned US Senator Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. Her response leaves no room for the imagination. When asked whether, quote, a world that allows for billionaires is, quote, a moral outcome, Ocasio Cortez responded, quote, no, it's not. It is not. Now, I'm going to go ahead and assume this system they're referring to is, of course, the system of economics. Ocasio Cortez, being essentially a socialist, is very interested in the means of production and how wealth is generated within a society. Now, of course, if you're referring to a system of, say, theft, wherein people are able to become billionaires by pillaging off other people, that would be an entirely different matter in itself. But since we are talking about economics and the morality that ties into economics, we need to look into people's choices. Becoming a billionaire is the completed sum of certain actions. When you go to university, you can choose to study a degree in chemical engineering, or you can choose to take an arts degree. When deciding where to spend your money, you can choose to invest in a powerful upsurging stock, or you can spend it on short-term wants. When choosing how you want to spend your time, you can choose to work harder and work for longer hours, or you can choose to take more time off work. Choices you make determine your worth in a capitalistic society. And this is where we run into people like Ocasio Cortez, who believe that regardless of which choices you take, everyone should arrive at the same outcome. It is equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity. So if we read between the lines of Ocasio Cortez's remark, we can see that she thinks the system that advocates for equality of opportunity and freedom of choice is inherently immoral. So what exactly does Ocasio Cortez propose to replace this immoral system? We are of course assuming that she will replace this immoral system with one that she considers to be moral. Otherwise, her criticism of the previous system's immorality becomes meaningless. So on to the proposal then. Hold your applause, it goes a little something like this. A 70% tax rate for people earning more than $10 million a year. Again, just a reminder, we're assuming that she thinks this is a moral system. This is of course pure nonsense. Any system involving taxation cannot be considered moral. Taxation is the involuntary taking of a portion of a person's income. It doesn't matter whether you agree with the taxation or you like where the money is being spent, you never consented to the money being taken off you, so regardless of how you perceive it, it is still, by definition, theft. Theft in itself can never be moral, which we can prove via contradiction. Take a room with two people in it, person A and person B. Now in this microstate, the ethical system is as follows. Theft is a morally good act. Therefore, as soon as this microstate comes into effect, we would expect person A to attempt to steal from person B. Now theft is an action that requires two parties. You cannot steal off yourself, as that is merely taking your property and giving it back to yourself. It doesn't really make any sense. Theft is also involuntary. If theft isn't involuntary, then it is merely the voluntaristic giving up of one's resources to another. It's essentially charity. So what we expect to happen is person A attempts to steal of person B. Now for person B to be good, he must participate in the theft. He should give up his resources to person A. But hang on for a second. If this is to be truly considered theft, then person B must resist in some capacity, defending himself from person A's advances, pushing him off, etc., etc. What we have here then is a ripe contradiction. Person B is being moral by participating in the theft, but being immoral by resisting the theft. But theft must be resisted in the first place for it to be theft. This reveals the contradiction. Person B is being both moral and immoral at the same time, which is an ethical impossibility. It's the physics equivalent of throwing a rock up and down at the same time. It simply cannot happen. Returning to the subject matter at hand, we can see that Ocasio Cortez's system of enforced distribution of resources is a moral farce. She purports that a moral system would be one in which the top income earners pay a 70% tax rate, but as we have established, taxation is theft, and theft is always immoral. Clearly Ocasio Cortez has never heard of proof by contradiction. Truth be told, it should be quite worrying that in under 5 minutes, any dickhead with a microphone can shred a US senator's proposed moral system. These people have no idea what constitutes morality. It could be a facet of malevolence, these people are deliberately trying to steal from people, but I would argue it's more ignorance. The government's control over the schooling system ensures that it will not reveal its own corruption. Individuals and entities rarely act in the interest of self-destruction. Thereby, a school will never teach you that taxation is theft, as this inevitably leads you to question the state and attempt to shrink its grip over society. The byproduct, however, of this mass indoctrination is legislation proposed by individuals such as Ocasio Cortez. This is delightful to the state, however, as it allows it to perpetuate its control of society even further. You brainwash people, don't tell them that taxation is theft, they get into the government, they propose high tax rates that gives the government more money and makes it more able to sustain itself. It's a little bit of food for thought for you. So yes, of course, like any socialist, Ocasio Cortez is fucking ass backwards. As a philosopher, she has no idea what immorality is. She shouldn't be discussing ethics at all. She is, of course, a politician. Thanks all for sticking around, and have a good one.